Okay, we are now streaming on YouTube. Well, what's up, YouTube? I'm so happy. I'm happy you're here. If you're here on YouTube checking this out, I'm happy you're here. I wore bright red for you today just because you decided to show up today. Ask me anything here in the chat. Right there. And brainstorm with me at HG. Happy Friday. Just thinking about you like a half an hour ago. Happy Friday. Okay. Trevor had to go. He had something to do, but he's reminding everybody 2 more days to the work week. Okay, great. Okay. Hey, YouTube, if you're here on YouTube, thanks for being here. And you guys who are here on the Zoom, thanks for being here. So I think a question had come in. I want to it was long and it was sent privately to me. So if you'll pardon me, I just want to read this thing really quickly before I answer it. Okay, so this is a question about self-sabotage and weighing yourself down and having a lot of goals and having to balance all of those goals out. Let's talk about this. So this will be a mindset conversation for you for a little while. And I'm going to give you like a snippet. We actually spoke about this in Galvanized yesterday in the mindset class. In Galvanized yesterday, we talked about this. And so I will take you through just a tiny bit of this that will help you out. So bear with me 1 second. Galvanized, you guys are from Galvanized. You okay if I touch upon this just a little bit? All right. Yeah, okay. So this is what we did in Galvanized yesterday. It took us a full hour. We won't do the full hour today, but on this, but I will take you through some of this, and I may skip around here, right? So self-sabotage is the topic at hand, and we all do it. Everyone self-sabotages in some way, and it's very hard to break the cycle of self-sabotage, especially as an entrepreneur. And the reason it's hard as an entrepreneur to break self-sabotage is because a lot of times you're kind of in it, you feel like you're in it alone. You work from home, you don't have an office to go into, you don't have, people that are constantly there kind of guiding you along. And that's one of the reasons that my two group programs, the Inner Circle, or yesterday, the Inner Circle and Galvanize, are designed so that you can spend time with people a lot during the week. And I designed these specifically with the community aspect of it because it can become isolated and lonely being an entrepreneur, as you know. And I've got one private client who this week did a very big presentation to an organization, and they got a little bit of pushback on the presentation. And you walk away from that feeling a little dejected. And if you don't have people that you can surround yourself with who are going to say, hey, it happens. And come on, I'm going to pick you up and we're going to keep moving. We're going to keep going along. If you don't have people like that, self-sabotage is like one of those things that it could just happen. It just happens as your natural state. And everybody does it. Even the strongest people have the inner workings to sabotage themselves. And there's a reason for it. And so it does look like the Chicago Bulls logo. It's not, but it does look like it. And a lot of people ask me that. It's not. It's actually Velcro, and there are different ones that I can stick on here. Like I could peel this off and there's Velcro behind it. That's how fancy. I'm very, very fancy. I'm a very, very fancy person. And so the next time I wear this, I'll stick on a different Velcro thing. I actually have matching pants that have the same Velcro thing on it. So some of you, there are at least two people in this room today who have seen me in the full outfit. And when I wear the full outfit, I'm known as Captain Ketchup to my kids. So it's a natural thing to self-sabotage. And everyone has the capability of self-sabotaging, even me. And even as disciplined as, we talk about, I'm extremely disciplined, very regimented, very, very, very motivated to stay on task and on schedule and on target every day, every minute of every day. And my eating is extreme and extreme. I have a very extreme eating routine. Sometimes I'll walk through the kitchen and there'll be a bite of a cupcake sitting there on the counter. Or as it was today, there was a container of blueberries sitting there. It's not my eating window, and my eating window doesn't open for another 6 hours. I wanted to take a handful of those blueberries and eat them, or the cupcake yesterday. And that's self-sabotage, because it's sabotage. And you might say, oh, but it's just a couple of blueberries, or it's just a bite of a cupcake. Well, yeah, but why be disciplined if you're not going to be disciplined? And so the tendency to self-sabotage is right there. And I saw those blueberries. I got a lot done this morning. It was spring break here this week, so my schedule felt weird because kids were around all the time and there's a lot of stuff going on. So the whole schedule felt weird. And I ran my 6 miles this morning, came in, there all the blueberries, and I'm like, oh. And that was at 7 o'clock this morning, 11 hours till the eating window opens. And I almost ate some of them, not without even thinking. But that's self-sabotage. I didn't, but it happens to all of us. And so there's a reason that it happens. And it's a pretty intriguing reason that it happens. Let me breeze through some of the stuff that we talked about yesterday. So Ralph Waldo Emerson said, you become what you think about all day long. And the point of talking about this is that there is something called the law of correspondence, which tells us that our outer world is in direct correspondence with our inner world. Show me someone on the outside and I can tell you exactly how they are on the inside. Show me how someone behaves over a long period of time, I can tell you what their inner thoughts are. Show me the decisions someone makes, and I can tell you what they're thinking on the inside. Your outer world has nothing to do with your environment or the people you are surrounded with. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world, a direct one-to-one reflection. And when you are in an authentic state, when you are alone and you think no one's watching, you are representing what goes on the inside. So if I had taken up a handful of those blueberries, shoved them in my mouth because they're delicious, and eaten them, that would have taken me off of my discipline, and my inside would have been undisciplined, and I would have represented that on the outside. And I remind myself of that because part of achieving, somebody says this is hitting like a ton of bricks. Part of achieving means doing the things you say you're going to do. And when you say you're going to do something, it damn well better be a reflection of what's going on the inside. And I have committed, and I have very openly said, I eat for a half an hour a day, and only for a half an hour a day. I eat clean during that half hour. And then Friday night, I eat for my half hour, and then I don't eat again until Sunday morning. And I fast for 36 hours. And I do it every friggin' week without fail. Without fail. Even, even you guys who spent time with me in Miami back in October, without fail, I didn't eat. I stayed on schedule because if I'm going to make a decision to be disciplined on the outside, my inside damn well better be disciplined. And that temptation to break that discipline on the inside when it shows up on the outside, it's you sabotaging yourself. So your outer world is in direct correspondence with your inner world and nothing else. And if you think it's something else, you're lying to yourself to feel better about something that is hurting you. Blame, excuses, stories that you tell yourself and others about why you can't, why you never have, why you shouldn't, why you should, why you could but can't. It's all in here. It's all in here. Show me how you are, and I'll tell you how you are, right? Show me how you are, and I'll tell you what you think. So we talked about yesterday in computer science, there's an acronym, garbage in, garbage out, in the computer science world. And we say that because in computer science, there is something called an operating system. An operating system is a set of code, a set of software that works on hardware that allows you to put an input in and get an output out. That's it. That's all an operating system is. It takes inputs and gives you outputs. In its simplest form, an operating system collects a finger press on a key and presents the letter on the screen. The input is my press on the key. The output is the letter on the screen. So if I press the letter J on my keyboard, the letter J shows up on the screen. Input, output. If I press the letter J and a squiggly line shows up on the screen, something's gone wrong in the operating system. If I need to type a word that is important for someone to read, I should hit those keys in order. That's my input. And the output would be that word that's important to read. If I instead close my eyes and slam my fingers on the keyboard, that is garbage in, and the output is going to be garbage out. That's how an operating system works. It's inputs and outputs. And so that applies to computer systems and operating systems, but in success, it all comes down to this. And this is not easy, my friends. It is not easy, but it is achievable. And if you want it bad enough, and here's the key, and no one knows this. There's somebody here that knows this better than anybody, and you know who you are. You know who you are. You want it bad enough, you're going to work enough for it. You're going to work hard enough to get it. And you're going to be tired. Right? You're going to be tired. And you're going to be mentally, physically, emotionally exhausted to make this work. You are from start to finish. So it's achievable, and anyone can achieve it. Look, no one in this world is better than you right now. You, at your core, in your heart, you are a good person who seeks to help other people. Okay, at your heart, you're a good person. It doesn't matter the fight you got into or the thing you said or the thing you thought. At your heart, at your core, you're a good person. And everyone at their core is a good person. And what manifests on the outside is somewhere between the core and the outside. And it has to do with their thoughts and their beliefs. But if you strip all of that away and you bring the layers down to your core, you're a good person who wants good for you and for those around you. And everyone is like that at the core. And no one is better than you. The only reason someone has achieved the thing that you're hoping to achieve is because they worked harder at it before you did. They aligned the right things to make that happen before you did. That's it. It's as simple as that. And if thousands of people are doing what you wish to do, well, I mean, what do you think your chances are of achieving it if you start to apply the same thought patterns and the same things? But you got to work for it. And everybody wants different things, right? There are some people that are very, very close to me, and I'm very close to them, and we want different things. We want different things. And we laugh about how hard we work and how tired we are and the weird places we sleep and how often we don't sleep. Why? We want it that bad. Like, we want it that bad. And we're willing to work that hard for it. That's us on the inside. And it doesn't have to be you on the inside. But you see on the outside, there's complete transparency from my outside to my inside. What you see is what I am. And I never try to change that. But you got to be willing to work hard for it. So here's where we get to self-sabotage. Your self-concept is your operating system. It's your operating system of how you think. Okay. By the way, I didn't make this stuff up. I've been studying this stuff since I was 18. From all the great people who have researched this stuff. It's your self-concept that's your operating system. It's your self-concept that takes the inputs and gives you the outputs. Okay. Simple inputs. Type the letter J shows up on the screen. Think a thought about yourself, it shows up on the outside. Think that thought over and over and over again, it shows up more and more and more on the outside. And the more you think it, the more it shows up. If it's not true right now, it will become true. You want to be a genius in fill in the blank? Tell yourself you're a genius in fill in the blank. And keep telling yourself that until it shows up on the outside and it's real. Guys, this isn't fake it until you make it. This is changing you on the outside by changing you first on the inside. You don't need to go to someone, anyone, a relationship, a parent, child, a friend, to tell you how you are on the outside. You already know. And if you're willing to do the hard thing and look on the inside, it will show you who you are on the outside. I do it every single day. Because I know my self-concept takes my inputs and provides me with the outputs. Your conception of yourself, that's your self-concept. How your conception of yourself. Okay, it takes the inputs and presents the outputs. Your self-concept does. If you tell yourself that you self-sabotage, you're going to self-sabotage, input and output. If you tell yourself you're going to be disciplined against all odds, you're going to be disciplined against all odds. No matter what. No matter what the conditions, if you tell yourself you're a disciplined person on the inside, it will show up on the outside. It won't show up at first. There's going to be cognitive dissonance. That's when cognitive dissonance in this case is when you are a way that you wish to change. So you change it by changing yourself on the inside. You might not like yourself very much for various reasons. I know I went through times where I didn't. I didn't like myself when I weighed 100 more pounds than I weigh right now. At all. So I changed myself. And you know what? It became real easy to lose that weight once I changed myself. Once I stopped hating the person I was, I started liking the person I was, and I became the disciplined person. Then everything changed. I changed my inputs and it changed my outputs. But if you're putting garbage into your brain, you can only expect to get garbage out. If you're putting garbage into your self-concept, and that garbage is everything that comes in through every one of your senses. What are you watching? What are you listening to? What are you experiencing? That's all your inputs. It's why my TV doesn't come on. It's why I don't watch, and you know, as hard as it sounds, I don't watch movies anymore. Can't even watch a movie because I don't want the I don't want that stuff coming into my brain. Listen, I used to love watching like James Bond and Mission Impossible, those kind of movies. And then I realized that was just garbage that was going into that was input of garbage. Scrolling on social media is garbage going in. I don't want to watch that. I don't want to put that into my brain. And I'm not saying I'm burying my head in the sand and ignoring important things that are going on. We got to pay attention to that stuff when you can have an impact on it. But if I can't have an impact on something, I'm not going to take the garbage in. You guys who get all fired up over something, whatever you get fired up over, how much impact can you really have on that in your current position? But you take the garbage in and it fuels that garbage that's coming out. And one of my buddies says, hey, you get fired up over something, stop getting fired up over it. Go make enough money where you can now go and impact change. Don't scream about it on social media. Shut up, go make the money and go make the change. That's exactly why I chose the benevolent organization that I choose, that I donate to. Instead of screaming that kids should be fed, I'm making the money and feeding kids that through no fault of their own can't provide food for themselves. And I don't crow about it on social media. You know about it because I want you all to pick something and do something like that. It doesn't have to be feeding hungry. Whatever you care the most about. You don't have to go crow about it. Don't scream about it. Don't complain about it. Pardon me, go do something about it. Go make enough money to make that change. Then that's clean input and clean output. Thank you. A very kind word came in, and I'm familiar with that phrase. Very kind word, but don't make this about me. Let's make this about you. Your core beliefs are your living reality. This is how I see your reality. I know what your core beliefs are. Change your core beliefs, change your living reality. I have fascinatingly good news for you right now. You can do this in this moment. You can start this process now. You don't have to order anything from Amazon. You don't need a fancy schmancy journal or a pen or a pencil that's dedicated to journal. That helps, right? You don't need it. You don't need to go somewhere. You don't need to sit with someone. You don't need permission. You don't need to spend a dime. You can change your self-concept right now. Simply by saying, I believe I can. And then figure out what you want to display on the outside. You want to stop self-sabotaging? I believe I can achieve. I believe I can effortlessly achieve. I am certain I am achieving with certainty. Just say it. Say it out loud right now. Forget about those people around you. They'll catch along. Say, I am certain I am achieving. Say it out loud. It feels great. I am certain that I like the person I am. Say it out loud. I am certain that I like the person I am. That certainty is going to build your self-concept. Liking the person you are is going to build your self-concept. And now it's important to understand that you might not like the person you are right now. You might feel like you're lying to yourself, but you're not. You're just changing your core beliefs. And if you can do that repeatedly for long periods of time, years, you will have a completely new set of core beliefs and a resulting completely new self-concept. If you don't like the person you are right now, it's uncomfortable to say, I'm certain that I like myself. Cognitive dissonance shows up. But if you say it enough, your reticular activating system, which is a part of your brain that filters out information that supports what you believe, your reticular activating system is going to allow information to come through that supports that you do like yourself. And you'll find things that you like about yourself. And that just might be the key to changing everything for you. But you got to have the guts to do it. And you've got to have the strength and the determination and the stamina to do it for long periods of time and not give up on you. Everybody else in the world can give up on you. But if you don't give up on you, that's all you need. Because you're not what you think about. You're not what you think you are. Pardon me. You're not what you think you are. You are what you think you are. Change the way you think and you change who you become. Because the reticular activating system is a part of your brain that is the size of your pinky that connects the basal ganglia limbic system and the neocortex, is connected to your auditory cortex, your visual cortex, and acts as a super fantastic filter. It digs into your brain and captures your beliefs, and then allows you to see and hear only the things that support those beliefs. And you guys who are in the inner circle, the exercise is there in the Becoming Extraordinary class. The reticular activating system exercise. Go do that exercise. I'll remind you, it's where we talk about the color blue. Okay? That exercise is in there in the inner circle. That is a life-changing exercise. Because what you think about is what you become. And if I think that I am proficient in X, my reticular activating system is going to listen, see, perceive, and feel the things that support me being X. And it works indiscriminate of what you think. You think you're a loser? Guess what? Your reticular activating system doesn't care. It doesn't care. It doesn't say, oh, a loser's a bad thing. Better not let that through. Oh, you think you're a loser? Guess what? Your reticular activating system is going to find all of the evidence that you're a loser. Think you're a failure? Your reticular activating system is going to give you all of the evidence to support your belief. This is why once you understand how this component of your brain works, you will never think a negative thought again. The worst things in the world could happen to you, and you will smile. And you will keep the positive thoughts so that you are constantly conditioning your reticular activating system to only let through the beliefs that support the evidence that supports your beliefs. Right? It doesn't care. It doesn't care. And now that you know this, look at the people around you. Oh, look at yourself. Look at yourself. Look at the people around you who go, oh, of course, always happens to me. Oh, the traffic always happens to me. Oh, the bills. Oh God, always. Why does this always happen to me? Well, you know why it always happens to them. It's because they believe it's always going to happen to them. So they're always going to find that evidence. Oh, I got pulled over by the cops again. Well, maybe slow down. Maybe realize that the stop sign isn't a suggestion. Maybe condition yourself that you are a driver that abides by the laws within a small variance. That's not me. I had just thinking about that. Mortified my 14-year-old daughter. I had to pick up some of her friends to bring them to an event yesterday. Friends all get in the car, and she's sitting there. And I pull out onto the street, And I just say in this goofy voice, I go, wonder what this button does. And I just pressed a nonsense button and I floored it. And I was like, whoa, just completely mortified her. Poor kid. Your reticular activating system is a part of your brain that is going to support your beliefs. This is not woo-woo, walk on coals. This is cells in your body that are part of your brain that are supporting what you believe. So you believe great things about yourself, the evidence will present itself. Watch, just go do it. Just say, I'm going to prove Prouty wrong. And for the next week, just believe the best things in the world about yourself and see if you don't find that evidence. Come and tell me I was wrong. I dare you. You will see what you expect to see. Always. Always. What you expect will show up. Why? Nothing more than brain science, than neuroscience here. And so if you have a self-limiting thought, the evidence that your self-limitations exist are going to present themselves to you. I don't really have to work at it anymore. Used to. Self-limiting thought would come in, I'd identify it, I'd observe it, I'd get rid of it immediately. With priority. The moment a self-limiting thought came in, remove with priority. Because if you don't, you're going to start to tell yourself the stories. You'll tell others the stories. It's bad enough when you tell yourself the stories of why you can't, of why you're limited, of the gym teacher who said you were never going to be able to, or the 53 that you got in Algebra 1 on the first final exam, or the parent who withheld love from you as a form of punishment, or the relationship that went in a direction you were hoping it wasn't going to go in, or the kid that said this thing, or the. You are telling yourself stories as a way of masking the fact that you have limited beliefs on what you can achieve. And so what do? How do you deal with this? You deal with this the way some of the greatest quarterbacks have ever played the game of football. And we're talking about the list of greatest quarterbacks. That would be Tom Brady, TB12, and the former quarterback from the New England Patriots, Tom Brady. That's the shortest list I can come up with. Had forced amnesia to failed plays. Peyton Manning did come into my mind because he used to do the same thing, right? Peyton Manning might have done this before Tom Brady. He did come into my mind because he did this before Brady, I bet. Forced amnesia to things going wrong, right? This is what they would do. A play would fail. They would lose a game. Bad quarter, bad half. Look at some of the greatest comebacks from the New England Patriots. I'm sorry if you're we don't have to talk about other teams. Some of the greatest comebacks in playoffs, in Super Bowls, some of the greatest comebacks were because the quarterback had amnesia to the bad things that had happened and started fresh with a fresh mind. Interception, okay, happened. Why did it happen? Let's not let that happen again. Gone, forgotten about. And I've been able to do the same thing. Somebody says I keep forgetting that I have amnesia. Something bad happens, bad by other people's definition. I don't define anything as bad. Everything just is. It's not bad, it's not good, it just is. But something happens that might be unsettling, happens, deal with it. Why did it happen? Don't let it happen again. Amnesia, move on. The stories that you're telling yourself are a coping mechanism for your refusal to change. And it's bad enough when you're telling yourself the stories. when you start telling others because your self-limiting beliefs on the inside are showing up on the outside, and now you're worried that people are judging you, and so you got to tell the stories so that you're doing on the outer world what you're doing on the inner world. You got to get that under control. How do you get it under control? You stop telling the stories. Stop telling the stories to others. Stop telling the stories to yourself. Go through the process. Again, you inner circle people, you have access to this. Go through the process that's in the extraordinary achievement of neutralizing the negative things that happened in the past. You can do it. Once it's neutralized, very easy to forget. Very easy to have amnesia. Oh, wait, that happened? I don't remember that. But here's the truth. You, right now, have more power, have more capability, have more potential than anyone with any measurement device, known or unknown, here into the future could ever measure. You are limitlessly capable. You are limitlessly powerful. And that, once I realized this, years and years ago, I changed one of the things that I have in my self-talk. My self-talk, to condition my self-concept, I have limitless explosive energy. And I didn't at the time when I started, but I kept telling myself that. You have limitless explosive energy. Limitless explosive energy. It is why I can work the hours that I work. It is why I can stay up late, get up early. Before 8 o'clock this morning, the people who do my lawn started to do a terrible job, so I have relieved them while I find someone new. Before 8 o'clock this morning, I was up, got a little bit of work done, ran 6 miles, and did all of my landscaping. Mowed my lawn, took care of the bushes, trimmed, edged, cleaned up, blew out the driveway, showered, 8 o'clock here at the desk. All before 8 o'clock, because I have limitless explosive energy. And I do. And it shows on the outside because I believe it on the inside. You are capable. You could go at 100 miles an hour, full speed, every day, every minute of every day, for the rest of your life, and you won't even begin to tap into the capability and the power that you have. And it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, how accomplished you are. None of that matters. You have it. You have it. You have these reserves of power that are beyond what you can currently imagine. And your refusal to accept this tells you on the inside that you don't. It shows up on the outside. Lethargy, depression, anxiety. Because people rarely tap into this power. Because it comes down to your self-concept, the conceptual understanding of yourself, your operating system. This is the combination lock your self-concept is. You could either have a negative self-concept that keeps that stuff locked away, or you could use your self-concept to open up the combination to these stores of energy, of potential, of capacity, of capability. But all you have to do is change your self-concept. And that's something you can do this moment. You don't even have to wait until this meeting is done or this video is done. I haven't even checked in on YouTube. A couple of questions on YouTube. I'll get to those in a little bit. Let's just finish this up. How you think about yourself is the combination lock. If you're not able to tap into your potential, if you feel like there's so much more for you, but you just can't get out of your own way to making that happen, your self-concept doesn't know the combination. And I gave you the first number of the combination today. I am certain that I like myself. That's the first number in the combination. You've got to just make that part of your self-concept. I am certain that I like myself. And then watch for the evidence. Now you got the first number. What's your potential? Well, One of mine was to become, this is years ago, one of mine was to become a genius in the science of paid traffic through ad platforms. I was good at it, helped people make a lot of money with it, but I didn't consider myself to be genius level. I want to be genius level. This is maybe 10, 15 years ago. And so I told myself, oh, I'm certain that I'm a genius at paid traffic. Not many people desire to be that, but I do. Means a lot to me. And so I just kept telling myself that. And it changed my self-concept. And the evidence started to show up. And suddenly I started to see things in paid campaigns that I didn't see before. I noticed patterns, and I was able to identify things faster. Am I a genius? I don't know. It's not about me, right? It's just about the results. But even to lock that in, I registered the domain name Paid Traffic Genius because that's how bad I wanted it. I still own the domain. Haven't done anything with it. I will. But it's part of my self-concept. And you have a self-concept in every area of your life. You have a self-concept for how you are with your family and your friends. You have a self-concept for how you deal with money. You have a self-concept. I'll go full screen as we bring this thing into something really profound for you. You have a self-concept for family, for friends, for your business. You have a self-concept for how you are in business. You have a self-concept for how you deal with money. You have a self-concept for your spirituality. You have a self-concept for how you learn. You have a self-concept for your physical pursuits. Wherever they are, you have a self-concept for all of those things. And then inside of those things, you have a self-concept for self-similar at scale. Move in, zoom in on one of those things. You have a self-concept for how you drive. And you have a self-concept for how you communicate and how you dress, how you position yourself, how you walk, how you show up places or not. You have a self-concept for everything that you do. You have a part of your self-concept as part of that. And frustration shows up when people challenge your self-concept. And that can be very damaging to your thought patterns when someone challenges your self-concept. You ever have somebody tell you you're a bad driver while you're driving? Everybody believes they're a good driver. Not everybody. That's dangerous. Some people know they're not good drivers. You ever be driving and somebody's like, slow down. You're driving too fast. You didn't come to a full stop. You missed the turn. That is very frustrating when stuff like that happens. Because people are challenging your self-concept, your belief in yourself. And so your self-concept functions like a regulator. And so here we go. Now you understand what a self-concept is. Let me tell you some real interesting stuff about you. Your self-concept works like a regulator. It is going to regulate you into a comfort zone, an area where you feel very comfortable. And this happens in every micro area of your life. You seek to stay in your comfort zone. Want to hear a hilarious example from me? I drink a lot of coffee. Not a lot of coffee, but I drink it because I love it. I love the way it tastes. I love everything about it. Don't really drink it for the caffeine because I don't really need it. Why? Because I have limitless explosive energy, whether I drink coffee or not. Because I have programmed myself to be that way. But I like the coffee I drink. And I make coffee one of two different ways. I have a machine that, put the beans in and make the coffee. And then I have something called a mocha pot. A mocha pot is a 3-sectioned metal pot that you unscrew, You take out one part and you put in some water, then you put that part back in, you put in the ground coffee, and then you screw it all back together, put it on the burner, turn on the burner, and it makes coffee. It makes very strong coffee, by the way. And I use my mocha pot a couple times a week. I use it when I want a larger beverage than a double espresso. And so my comfort zone is drinking coffee from one of those two devices. I don't tend to get coffee out anywhere. I generally tend to do that. When I travel, and you guys who spent time with me in Miami in October will remember this, I'm in Miami, Hallandale Beach, actually, and there are great coffee shops within walking distance all around me. From my favorite, Starbucks, which, it just happens to be because I love it, to little niche cafes and stuff like that. What did I do? I brought my mocha pot with me, put it in my suitcase. And I brought my ground Cafe Bustelo coffee with me, put it in my suitcase, brought it with me. And in my apartment there, had my little stove and made my own coffee. That's my comfort zone. Could cool things have happened if I broke out of that comfort zone? Yeah, maybe I would have discovered something great, but you know what? I like that comfort zone. Well, you have a comfort zone in just about everything. The places you go, the things you eat, what you watch, what you listen to, it's all within your comfort zone. You have a comfort zone for how much money you make, and you have a comfort zone for how much you're going to achieve. And you will not go much beyond a small margin of error from within that comfort zone. And once you get there, once you're in that comfort zone, your self-concept will not allow you to go above it or below it. This is true about how much money. Listen up, guys. This is it. This is unlocking it all for you. You get into your financial comfort zone of how much money you make. You're not going to work to get above it. And if you happen to go a little bit below it, you're going to work to get back to it. But you're not going to get much more above it. Your self-concept regulates you into that comfort zone. So that comfort zone might be $100,000 a year. Or it might be 150, maybe 200, 250. You know what it is. You've been thinking about it since I brought it up. You know what it is. You know where your number is. And it's because your self-concept forces you into that comfort zone, and it won't allow you to get above it, and it will work hard to get back into it, but not above it when you fall below. So when you fall below, what happens? You panic. Change your self-concept a little bit. When you get above it, what happens? You get a little relaxed. You spend some money. There was a study on drug dealers who came from poverty and started selling drugs to make money. And overwhelmingly in this study, they found that when drug dealers would go and do a big drug deal, many of them would leave the money somewhere. They'd have a bag of money. They'd leave it on the subway, or they'd put it down somewhere and leave it, because their self-concept and their regulator was, I don't make this big money. They didn't look at it and go, oh, I don't deserve this, I'm going to lose it. It doesn't work that way. Their self-concept was not around massive amounts of money. So they didn't know how to do the things to handle massive amounts of money. So an interesting study. So this is where your self-limiting beliefs come in. Your self-limiting beliefs are well within your comfort zone, within your barometer. The only way to break free of this is to turn up the regulator. And when I learned this, prior to this, it was fun. $50,000 months were whatever, that was my comfort zone. When I learned this, everything changed. Massive changes in the amount of money that I generated. Because what I did is I took the top off the regulator. There was no upper limit. There is no upper limit. And I'm heavily criticized by the people closest to me. They're like, how much money do you really want to make? Yes, more. What are you going to do? Why? How much do you need? I don't need anything. It's not need. My regulator, it works differently than your regulator. There is no upper limit on my regulator. Why? Because I am certain that I am doing this. I am certain that I like myself. I am certain that I am a paid traffic genius. I am certain that I'm doing this. There is no comfort zone. So how do you do this? Well, it's kind of different for everyone. Dan Pena, the great Dan Pena, has a concept called smell the leather, where when he was young, before he made trillions of dollars, he would go to the Rolls-Royce dealerships. Very young, going to the Rolls-Royce dealerships, and he would go into the showrooms and go and sit in the cars. And he would do it frequently, multiple times per week. Just go in, sit in the car. He would smell the leather of the inside of the Rolls-Royce. It raised his barometer. It raised his regulator. It put him in a place where he was not, but it raised his regulator to there. It is why. Now, hey, listen, I live a pretty simple life. I don't drive a Lambo. I don't want to drive a Lambo. But I got things that I like. And the things that I like them a lot. And some of the things I like aren't cheap. But I like them a lot. And when I get them, I'm extremely happy about having them. It changes my self-concept and it changes my regulator. So your mission right now is to understand that your self-limiting beliefs are firmly rooted in your self-concept. And if you can change your self-concept scientifically by changing what you believe so that your reticular activating system then lets through the evidence that what you believe is true, only then can you take that regulator of your self-concept and start to ratchet it upward and upward and upward. That was a long answer to that question. On YouTube, somebody says, how do I automatically send messages to clients on LinkedIn? Emmanuel, please don't do that. Just don't. Just stop being a robot, be a human. LinkedIn rewards people for being humans. Go to LinkedIn and be a human and don't try to automate it. Listen, a lot of smart, successful people in my programs who know because they tried and they got screwed by automating too much on LinkedIn. Just don't be so lazy is the answer. How do I automatically send messages? How do I automatically send messages to clients on LinkedIn? You automatically put your fingers on the keys and type the messages and press enter. That's how you automatically do it. You automatically stop being lazy and you go get it done. And I say that with love, Emmanuel. I say that with love to you. The person whose name is with a question mark says, how are you? I am fantastic. How do I make a person value my service? Provide them with a service that they value. It's that simple. Get to know the people that you want to serve and figure out what they value most and create a service around that. How do you make someone, you don't make someone value your service. They have a value in something. Your service needs to speak to that value, not the other way around. Okay, it's not the other way around. Your perfect clients value something, sell that to them. Don't make something and sell it and say, come on, you value this. That's backwards. That's a great question. And I hope that answer helped you. All right, coming up on the top of the hour, Inner Circle, we're having coffee in 1 hour's time. It's going to be a quick one because I have a sales call immediately after that I need to prep for just a tiny bit. I could prep for it on during the coffee and let somebody else talk. So Inner Circle coffee in 1 hour's time. And then we do it all again next week. All right. So not Inner Circle. I ask you again, why are you not in the Inner Circle? You wouldn't believe the stuff we got going on in there. And it's ridiculously inexpensive. So message me if you want to join in. Otherwise, see you guys in an hour. Thanks for hanging out with me here today. I am 4 days left to the work week, somebody says. That's right. Functional imagery training is smelling the leather. That is exactly right. Let's go. Let's go. I'm going to stop the YouTube thing. I got to figure out how to stop the YouTube thing first. I get worried. I get very